B flat fingerings on the saxophone. We have some options here, 3 that we're going to discuss today. The default or regular option is what we call TA, and you will see the fingering diagram on your screen here shortly. The way we perform that is by fingering 1, 2 in the left hand, and then TA here with our right index finger, but it's in between the first and the second knuckle is where we control that. Okay, so 1, 2, TA. This gives us A sharp or B flat in the middle of the staff, and it sounds like this. If you add the octave key here, it gives you the A sharp or B flat above the staff. Okay, so that is called TA. The next B flat fingering I want to discuss with you is P. In the fingering diagram, you'll see there is a key called P. P is located in between 1 and 2. It's this little bitty key right here. Now you cover 1 and P with your left index finger, and you should try to center with the center of the ball of your finger right where those two meet. So the perimeter of 1 and the perimeter of 2, try to center the index finger, the ball of your finger on both of those. You press both of those down together and you get P. This is B flat or A sharp in the staff with the octave key down, A sharp or B flat above the staff. The third option is a combination of 1 and 4 in the right hand, or 1 and 5 in the right hand. 1 in the left hand, 4 in the right hand. Those pressed together can give you B flat or A sharp in the staff with the octave key down, the octave above. 1 and 5 can give you the same thing, A sharp or B flat in the staff, A sharp or B flat above the staff with the octave key depressed. Knowing when to use these fingerings is extremely important. And as a rule, if you see an A sharp, I encourage you to use the TA fingering because almost always there's a B natural nearby. And that means that you're going to use A sharp in your chromatic passages. I will demonstrate now. If you played a chromatic passage that went from G up to B natural, in the left hand it would look like G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and then back down. I will demonstrate that now. That is A sharp ascending and B flat descending, both using the TA fingering. So again, use TA when you see A sharp as a rule, or when you have any kind of chromatic passage there. P is often used when you see a B flat by itself in flat keys, and generally there's B flat followed by C, so there's not a chromatic motion. In flat keys where you encounter C flat, which inharmonically equals a B natural in our fingering, you will need to use TA in those fingerings for those scales. Using 1 and 4 or 1 and 5 for a B flat or A sharp fingering are only used in unique scenarios, often with tremolos or arpeggios or trills going into weird resolutions of notes. I will demonstrate one example for you now. There is a unique trill that I'm going to do from B to A sharp using 5, and I'm going to resolve into an E natural above that. But instead of using the regular E natural fingering, I'm going to use a short E natural fingering that requires me to get up to C3 here in the right hand. Now if I tried to do that same fingering using A sharp with the TA fingering, I would have to move all the way up to C3 and listen to what that would sound like. All right, I have to leap up and it's really cumbersome and awkward. There are specific cases to use 1 and 4 or 1 and 5, but examine the context. Look at things before and after an A sharp or B flat to make your best choice. Avoiding finger crossing is something that we like to consider on the saxophone. Often in the left hand, we have B to C to D, etc. And sometimes it's unavoidable to prevent finger crossing. But in some scales, for example, F major, you can play that key, that major scale using P, which I advocate teaching and practicing, but you can also play it with TA to avoid the finger crossing from B flat to C. Now, often you will choose the B flat fingering that feels most comfortable, and we're going to look at some excerpts here, and I will keep them on the screen so you can see while I play them and how I come to make the decisions of which B flat fingering to use. If you look at page 11 in the Weber book, lines 8 and 9, we're going to play this example together, and I'm going to put this example on the screen so that you can see it. The first, line 8, you'll see has an F major scale with just the B flat accidental notated. And above that, I have written TA/P because I want you to practice both of these in preparation of learning B flat in this context. You'll notice that the first one we're going to use is TA, and this prevents the finger crossing that we're learning. So it's going to go F, G, A, B flat using the TA key, C, D, E, F. Now I will perform that scale using P. Now be careful whenever you're fingering this particular note, the B flat, you have to move your index finger down from the position you normally would on one so that it covers both of those keys at the same time. Number 9 on page 11 dances around a little bit of finger crossing, and then it asks you to execute some B flats. And you'll notice that the first B flat I've given you in there with the indication to use TA. And this is because you're coming from a C, and then we're going to finger A plus the TA key with the right hand, and then go down to the A natural, and then I want you to slide over so that you get P for the B flat after that before resolving back to the A. Again, I just want you to watch my fingers here as I navigate this. I want you to watch my fingers here as I navigate this line 9 on page 11. Again, watch my fingers. It's unavoidable. We're going from C to B to C. We have to practice the finger crossing. But when we get to the B flat, we're going to add TA to A, and then we're going to slide to P before going back down to A. 1, 2, ready. In general, you should use TA in chromatic passages and choose the B flat fingering that you're going to use based on finger crossing and the context of the pitches around the B flat or the A sharp. For this next exercise, I want you to look at page 12, line 4. On this line, you'll see that we're going from G up to B flat and back down to G up to B flat and back down. And because we don't have a C on the other side, we have 0 finger crossing possibilities. I encourage you to use the P fingering. Watching my hands closely here, I'm preparing for my B flat at the very beginning. I'm just going to put 1 right here so that it's ready to go. 1, 2, ready. Remember, in this context, one finger with one hand is less cumbersome and more efficient then 3 fingers and 2 hands if you were to choose to use TA. I will demonstrate that now. For this next excerpt and exercise, we're going to look at page 11, line 11 in the Weber book, and we're going to examine the Marines hymn, and we're going to explore the B-flat fingerings listed here. You'll see that B-flat is in the key. We're in the key of F major or concert A-flat for E-flat instruments. And if you'll scroll through and just kind of look at the middle of the first line, you'll see we get a B-flat there. Because there's a C that follows and avoiding finger crossing is probably best here, I encourage you to use the TA fingering. When you get to the second line, second and third measures, you'll see we're going half notes from D down to B flat, D to B flat. Because we're doing that and no finger crossing is really necessary for the first one, we can use P. Now if you examine the third measure of the second line, we're going to B flat, and then we're following the note that follows as a C. So we're going to have to do some finger crossing. It's not always avoidable, but we could use TA there. But for right now, let's just try P. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. The second line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Summarizing our B-flat fingerings topic today, remember the 3 options. We have TA, we have P, and we have the combination of 1 and 4 or 1 and 5. Choose the correct fingering based on context. If it's chromatic or if it's an A sharp, assume you're going to use TA. If they're in flat keys, assume you're going to use P unless there's a C flat or a B natural somewhere around it. And if you have some interesting trills or tremolos or arpeggios, don't think that you shouldn't consider 1 and 4 or 1 and 5 as possible solutions. I've been playing saxophone for a long time and teaching it, and there may have been 20 different pieces of music where I've elected to use some combination of 1 and 4 or 1 and 5. Don't rule that out as an option. Happy practicing.